ready for Block Party Prairie Point Favorites April block, and I just want to start out showing you the beautiful blocks. We have the Amish quilter, we have the Garden Party block here, and then the Farmer's Daughter block. So we have just flying geese and 4-patch blocks is what it's made up of. So I'm going to set those aside, and just briefly I want to show you the way I'm having you do the flying geese units this time is not the 4 at a time method. So we've got the rectangle and the squares, and these are oversized this time. I think before we've done them where they've been turned out the exact size, but this time they're oversized to give you squaring up room. So you can take your folded corner clipper. The instructions tell you to draw the line and sew right on the line, but you can do that method. But if you have the folded corner clipper, go ahead and cut that off. Sew a 1/4 inch, press it, do another one on the other side to repeat that. And if you have the simple folded corners ruler, you will also put that on there. And a nice way to remember how to put this on, of course you need to know the measurement of your square, but this line right here is going to go right from corner to corner. So if you have that on there, you'll know you have it on there correctly. So trim that, sew your 1/4 inch seam, press it open, repeat on the other side. Okay, then to square them up. One thing I want to point out to you is that when I cut these out, I didn't have this in front of me. I couldn't remember the colorways. And so I did them the opposite of what they should be. So in reality, this one would go down here and that one would go up there. If you do them backwards, that's fine. You get the same amount of fabric for the black and for the pink. And if you switch them, that's okay. And the block will look still just as nice, but didn't want you to get confused in this. If you have the other 2 colorways, it isn't going to matter to you at all. Okay, so use your favorite method for squaring up the flying geese units, whether it's the Tucker Trimmer Wing Clipper or the Ultimate Flying Geese Ruler or Eleanor Burns's method, whatever you want. If you don't have one of those rulers and you want a little tip on squaring it up, I'm going to do that for you right here. So these are to be squared up to 2.5 by 4.5 inches. So I'm going to put the ruler right there on that unit, and I have my 4.5 inches going across that way, 2.5 down here. I'm going to put this at the 2 1/4 marking. From here to here, 2 1/4 is right at the center point of that triangle. And at the same time, I have a 1/4 of an inch above the point where the edge of my ruler is. And with this little Creative Grids ruler, it's easy to see where that 1/4 inch is. Okay, before I start cutting, I'm going to make sure that my 2.5 and 4.5 inch lines meet right here at the corner, at the edge seam line of that, those 2 pieces coming together, and then that also meets over here. The 4.5 inch line and the 2.5 inch line meet right there. I'm going to adjust that just a tiny bit. Okay, the little static cling. All right, put that back on there. Now I'm going to have to start all over, get that measured. Anytime you have to adjust one part of it, you need to check the other parts as well. Okay, got that there. Okay, now I have it. So this will come out a perfect 2.5 by 4.5 inch piece. Get those cut off. All right, those are nice and square, so I'm going to turn it over. Now all I have to do is, I'm going to turn this around, do the 4.5 by 2.5 inch lines here after I get that straight up. Okay, that diagonal line goes right on there. That helps me to make sure it's right on the edge. Trim that up. Now, if you have the other flying geese square rulers, that is great. But if you don't, this is a nice way to do it. Okay, it's ready to go, put together with your other pieces in the block. I'm going to do that one more time since I have it here, just so you can see how that is done. This time I'm going to do the 4.5 inch side of the ruler with a 1/2 inch. I didn't do that the first time. And 2.25 inches over, so that would be this side of the 2.5. Okay, this is not sliding easily. Creative Grids has good grip. I'm going to trim that. Like I told you before, I made sure that my line, this edge here and this line here came right to the seam line, as it does right here. Okay, I'm going to turn it around. Do 2.5 by 4.5. Get that on there. Okay. Comes right to the seam line. That comes right to the seam line. And there you go. That'll be put together like that. Or if you do it the way the pattern tells you to do it in the colorway, this will actually be black and that will be pink. All right. And that is all for this month.